Tomohiro Saito, Japanese pro player coming back into the game. He's been posting a lot of deck lists on Twitter.
On the Twitter sphere.
And, the first deck list he posted was that mono red deck splashing green with, like, Burning Tree, Emissary, Stormcloak Noble, Rancors, etc. Very low land count. But another deck that he posted shortly after that was right before the Pro Tour. He said, "This is the deck I would play for the Pro Tour. Very fun." And it was a red-green deck, but a slightly bigger red-green deck. I mean, it plays Arbor Elf, Gyre Sage, on top of the standard, Burning Tree, Emissary, and Flintoff board. Also plays Stranglegeist, and he goes up the curve with Huntmaster of the Fell, Gore-Clan Rampager, and Wolfear Silverheart.
So he's going big.
And he plays a lot more green sources because of the Arbor Elf. So he plays 8 Forest, and so he can't play cards like Boros Reckoner, but he does have 4 Searing Spear and 4 Domer Raid. So this deck basically is just trying to go over the top. It's like you can get some pretty absurd draws with Arbor Elf and Gyre Sage and get like a really quick Silverheart out there, which a lot of decks just can't beat,
It's the king of the green mirrors, Wolfear Silverheart.
Yeah, so looks like it's been doing well for Marcos so far, so we'll see if his luck holds up.
See if he can beat Razor, Ramon, Romo, Tony. See
one of my favorite wrestlers.
That's right.
Razor Ramon.
Hard not to be. Razor Ramon here is playing a Jund deck. Pretty standard, honestly.
Yeah, Jund.
I mean, the only real difference here is you're not going to find Arbor Elves. You're actually going to find copies of Deathrite Shaman in the main deck instead of those. Everything else here is pretty stock. 2 Lilianas, 2 Garrux, Amizium Mortars, 3 copies of Bonfire the Damned, Farseek, which you guys do see resolving right now. His removal are 2 Abrupt Decay, 2 Tragic Slip, a Dreadbore, a Murder, and Ultimate Price, and he has those pretty standard now. 2 copies of Rakdos returns for his control and mirror matchups.
So Ramon got the start that he wanted, turn 2 Farseek, and Marcus has no Arbor Elf on turn 1, so not really threatening a too explosive draw, but looks like he might have the turn 2 Gyre Sage, which is a start, Certainly not hyper explosive, not as explosive as, a Naya Blitz deck can be, but, it can get pretty big relatively quickly, and suddenly on turn 4 you can have 2 4/5s in play, and casting a Wolfear Silverheart. So we'll see. I think Ramon kind of senses, this card can get out of control pretty quickly. Let me deal with it now. Give me some time just so I can start casting Thragtusk.
Yeah, just going to put an end to that right away. You're going to see a Stranglegeist here from Marcus. He's going to come across 4/2, and Ramon is going to Tragic Slip that, so it's going to make it into a 3/2 because of Undying, and just move along from there.
Ramon being pretty aggressive there with his removal. Maybe just wants to make sure that he can cast the Thragtusk and not have to worry about... he's got a Garrett there, so... kind of strange that he would choose to just kill use the Tragic Slip, because, if he knows he's going to play Garrett this turn, which it seemed like he did, you'd rather have a 3/3 facing down a 2/1 as opposed to a 3/2.
Sure.
Looks like, still in good shape. He's got the big Planeswalker in play, which is pretty good against Marcos' deck, especially when Marcos has, really no threats in play. Maybe if he has a Gore-Clan Rampager, he'll be able to kill it.
So you do see the spotter there, get the Beast token out there for you guys. Stranglegeist currently a 3/2 due to Undying, and he is going to come across here and attack into the Garruk. We are going to see Gore-Clan Rampager there. The Bloodthirst is going to take care of the Garruk. He's going to follow that up as well with a Foot Hoof Boar and pass the turn back. So very, very good turn there for Marcus. Has a good board presence, took care of one of the bigger problems, and lost nothing in the process.
Yeah, and I think Ramon really regrets casting that Tragic Slip now, because again, that Primal Speaker stays in play if it's a 2/1, not a 3/2. Obviously a great play by Marcos, and he also has a Huntmaster and a Silverheart, so threatening to do some heavy hitting next turn if he's able to untap with both his creatures in play, or at least one of them.
Yeah. We're going to see an Overgrown Tomb here, untapped here for Ramon.
Hopefully not a Rakdos return, otherwise Marcos is going to be in some serious trouble.
And we are going to see Olivia Voldaren here.
All right.
So Olivia is going to come down. It does have access to the ping ability right now, so it can become a 4/4 at a moment's notice. Stay out of Searing Spear range as well. Makes you question if maybe he should have main phased that. Olivia Voldaren to keep it out of Searing Spear range, but we'll see exactly how it's going to work out for him, as we do see Marcus plays a mountain there, does have access to double green for the Wolf or Silverheart that's in his hand. You see 2 copies of that along with a Huntmaster of the Fells as well. So hand is pretty loaded up here, but he needs to be able to beat this Olivia, which is no small feat.
Yeah, I mean, Marcos might just play the Silverheart here, pair it with the Flinthoof board and swing for 7. Ramon pretty much only has a play of maybe just pinging it and trying to steal it next turn, removing the Soul Bond. But Marcos has another Silverheart, so maybe he's just going to try to do as much damage as he can, and then just sort of maybe burn him out, or do what he can later. But I think this is pretty much the only play that Marcos really has.
As you do see the bond between Wolffair Silverheart and Strangleroot Geist be made. Strangleroot Geist is going to come across for 7 there, and you're going to see Olivia Voldaren here shoot something. We'll see exactly what it's going to be in just a moment.
I think he wants to shoot the Silverheart and steal it.
So he does shoot the Silverheart. Olivia's going to turn into a 4/4 now. Wolffair Silverheart is going to be a vampire in addition to being a wolf warrior. And Ramon's going to draw a card here. One of the draws for Ramon that's not particularly great anymore is Bonfire of the Damned, because of Wolffair Silverheart enhancing itself and that Strangleroot Geist.
Yeah, so he has the option of stealing the Silverheart. Since Marcos doesn't control it anymore, the Soul Bond will leave, and Ramon will have basically a 4/4 Silverheart and a 4/4 Olivia in play. And Marcos will just have a 3/2 Strangleroot Geist and Flinthoof board. Now, Marcos can play the second Wolffair Silverheart in his hand, but at that point, all he can really do is just attack. Ramon probably just chump blocks with the Silverheart that he just stole, and Ramon's back in the driver's seat. So Olivia's just really threatening to just take control of the game, especially if Ramon has another land. If Ramon has another land and is able to ping the second Silverheart, then the game's over.
Yeah, and that's what you see. You see him play a Blood Crypt untapped. You saw the way that he's moved his lands around here, representing the 5 on the top of the screen to be able to take with Olivia, and then the 2 on the bottom. You see him actually shifting again here, just to kind of mask exactly what he's trying to do. He does have Kessig Wolf Run activation is a thing that could occur, but you're going to see him shoot here, shoot again. There you're going to see Liliana.
This is interesting because I'm not sure.
I'm a little bit surprised exactly what's going on here, because that guy's not dead.
So did Ramon just forget? So wow. So it looks like Ramon's just going to have to chump block here.
Yeah, it looks like it looks like he's facing lethal. Yeah, he's facing lethal.
I guess he just
now.
forgot that Silverheart was soul bonded. Maybe he was thinking too far ahead that I'm going to steal the Silverheart. They're not going to be soul bonded, but yeah, I mean, now Ramon's basically in a position where I have to chump block.
Yeah, this is.
I have a Liliana that all I can do is uptick next turn and make him discard a card.
Yeah, he's being attacked here by an 8/8 and a 7/6.
Yeah, and Marcos actually drew a Searing Spear, so it doesn't even matter. Wow.
Yep, and it shows him a Searing Spear, and he concedes the game right away. I think he realizes the mistake that he made there.
So, all right, I spoke too soon when I said Ramon had this game locked up.
Yeah, a little bit out of yourself.
But
there.
I think that Ramon can't be too unhappy with losing, because at least he knows that his sideboard's pretty good. He's got a lot of removal. I think Ramon's still favored. Jun just has so much removal. The Gruul deck really needs to get a pretty good start. I mean, again, Silverheart's really, really good. And it's hard, I don't know how many Dreadbores and Tragic Slips and Murders Ramon has, but again, Silverheart's, really good, but Ramon has enough removal where maybe it's not going to be as effective. And Rakdos Return's actually not that bad against this deck, because you do play a lot of high-end cards, so there was a turn where if Ramon had a Rakdos Return, that would have been great. He would have got rid of both Silverhearts. So See how the next game plays out.
Yeah, this is a little bit slower matchup here where Rakdos Return could do a little bit more than normal because you can't really expect the Gyre Sage to live all that long in these matchups. Same to be said with Arbor Elf. But taking a look at Ramon's sideboard here, he does have access to 2 Pillar of Flames to take care of those Strangaroots guys, those Gyre Sages, and those Arbor Elves in a timely fashion. Does have access to another Rakdos Return, but I'd be surprised to see him board that one in. Also has copies of Acidic Slime, 2 Witchbane Orbs, an additional Tragic Slip, additional Bonfire of the Damned. You're also going to find 2 Duresses, a Grafdigger's Cage, and Underworld Connections, a Staff of Nin, a Triumph of Cruelty, and a Slaughter Games here. I think first and foremost, he's going to want to move towards his removal here. So 2 Pillar of Flames, a Tragic Slip, and probably that Bonfire of the Damned are going to come in. You can make an argument for Staff of Nin or Underworld Connections to try to bury Marcus underneath card advantage, but is he going to have enough time to set that up? Is a bigger question. Cards that can probably come out here. Garrett Primal Hunter does seem a little bit slow, and I'm not too impressed with Deathrite Shaman here as well. You know, if those Deathrite Shamans were Arbor Elves, it'd be a different story, but since they are Deathrite Shamans, I think you can safely sideboard those out. And then, you know, you can make an argument for either way about Rakdos Return. Being on the play makes it a little bit more appealing than being on the draw.
Yeah, and Marcus actually has a lot of interesting options. He only has 21 lands main deck. So after board, he might want to try to board out some of those Arbor Elves, just because I know they're great in like if you're playing Jund, but the thing is, he has 2 Kessig Wolfruns in his sideboard, so he might want to swap 2 Arbor Elves for 2 Kessig Wolfruns, just knowing that Ramon has cards like Bonfire and Pillar of Flames and Mizium Mortars. So, you know, you really don't want to draw multiple Arbor Elves against the Jund deck, you know? You want to sort of limit them. So I might cut 2 Arbor Elves for 2 Kessig Wolfruns. I think he also has 2 copies of Garruk Relentless and 2 copies of Garruk Primal Hunter. Not sure Relentless is really good in this matchup, but Primal Hunter I could see coming in, just because, again, Ramon's going to have a lot of removal for creatures, doesn't have that many removal for planeswalkers, so Primal Hunter could just take over the game. Okay. And he also has 3 copies of Thundermaw Hellkite, which, again, I think could be a really good card, because a card like Mizium Mortars, it dodges Abrupt Decay, it's, you know, Tragic Slip is, again, very conditional, so I can see maybe bringing in Kessig Wolfrun, Primal Hunter, and Thundermaw, and just going big and trying to just say, Ramon, I don't care how much removal you have, I have a lot of really good threats, I'm just going to play them all and hope you don't draw the right answer for them. But, you know, I don't know what he wants to take out here. You know, like I said, maybe 2 Arbor Elves. Searing Spear, I don't know, do you want to maybe cut the Searing Spear? Is it that great?
I think personally that you have to leave it in just because Olivia is such a problem. I think if Ramon would have managed Olivia correctly that game, as we saw, I think he wins that game fairly easily. Yeah. And Searing Spear is a card that can take care of it on the spot, and as we saw that game, it's something that he would have needed to use to take care of that Olivia had Ramon balance his resources correctly.
Yeah, so, I mean, I could see maybe Domri Raid.
That does seem a little bit slower, especially on the draw.
Yeah, not sure how much you want that. Maybe cut a couple Arbor Elves for the Wolfruns, or maybe he just says, forget it. I'm gonna just try to be aggressive, try to recapture the turn with my Arbor Elf. But I don't know. I like boarding in some mana against Jund, so I don't get mana screwed when they just try to burn out my mana guys. But because he can definitely get draws where it's like 2 land Gyre Sage Arbor Elf. Sure. And Ramon just goes kill your guy, and then you're stuck on 2 mana for the rest of the game. Sure. And again, Kessig Wolfrun's not a bad card. You know, if you're going to board in the land, that's certainly a reasonable land to board in.
Pretty good one to board in, yeah. You're not too unhappy to board that one in.
So Marcus has a lot of options. Interesting to see where he goes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he can board into a removal heavy deck. He is going to be on the draw this game. Excuse me. He can board into a, like more aggressive deck. Let's look at Ramon's deck.
He can board into. He can just board in more threats. You know, Domri Raid. You know, it's good in certain matchups, and again, it's sort of a grindy card that maybe could get him some advantage, which you'd think you'd want against Jund in a Tricia matchup. But is it better than just like a Garruk Primal Hunter? I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't need all your Arbor. Maybe you just board out all your Arbor Elves. So yeah, I don't know.
So you do see both players underway here. It looks as though they've kept their 7 cards. We see Overgrown Tomb here for Ramon to go along with the Dragon Skull Summit, and we are going to see a Farseek here, so one of the more important cards, pushed himself even farther ahead. Marcus just with a stomping ground here. Very reminiscent of how the last game started.
Yeah, if you're X and 1 late into the rounds with Jund, you're generally going to go turn 2 Farseek.
Oh, you're that guy? You're the Farseek guy with Jund?
It's such a different deck if you don't have Farseek.
Yeah, it really is.
But, Man just has the Farseek here, and Marcos again, maybe he has the turn 2 Gyre Sage, but you feel like you're so far behind, don't you? I mean, even if he goes turn 2 Gyre Sage, he can't go turn 3 Huntmaster, which if Ramon has, is going to trump anything that Marcos can play on turn 3 pretty much. So, looks like he does have the Gyre Sage. Looks like he boarded in Mini Garrick too.
Yeah, you see Garrick Relentless in his hand. Stomping Ground comes into play on tap, bringing Marcus down to 18, and he is going to play the Gyre Sage here and pass the turn back.
Is it Gyre Sage or Gyre Sage?
It is Gyre Sage, a soft G.
I prefer Gyre Sage.
Yeah, teach their own.
Teach their own. Potato, potato.
Yeah.
We have an Olivia or Huntmaster? Huntmaster it is. So, looks like Marcos has a Flint Hook Core, so Gyre Sage will grow.
Ah, soft G. Now you're with me.
Just a 3rd land, so he could end up playing just 2 Flint Hook Cores. Oh, he's got a Volcanic Strength.
He does.
Interesting.
Which is not turned on right now because the only red source of mana that Ramon currently has is a Dragon Skull Summit, but if he ever does find a way to play a Stomping Ground or a Blood Crypt, that Volcanic Strength may be able to catch Ramon off guard.
So, looks like we're going to be able to build Marcos. Marcos is going to be able to build his Gyre Sage twice.
Yep, you're going to see a Strangleroot Geist, evolve that, put a counter on it, make it a 2/3. He can tap that for a green, play a Flint Hoof Boar. That's going to make that a 3/4, and now he's already got a pretty good army out there, and here comes the Strangleroot Geist.
I got a mini Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, Tarmogoyf that taps for mana.
Yeah.
They'll print anything nowadays.
So, Marcos has a lot of power in play, and, Ramon probably best thing he can play now is Thragtusk, but, he's not in the worst shape, especially when you top deck Bonfire at the dance. So, what is he going to do here? For 3?
Now, for 3 is pretty good, but honestly, it's not as good as it normally would be. It's going to take care of the Flint Hoof Board. It's going to make Strangleroot Geist die and then come back, make it a 3/2, but it doesn't touch the Gyre Sage because it is a 3/4 right now because Marcus's last turn was so good by playing Strangleroot Geist and Flint Hoof Board. So, as good as that would normally be, it's not great. It's just okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's, not nearly as good as Ramon probably hoped.
And Ramon's just going to play a Stomping Grounds and does pass the turn, and that's that mountain that Marcus was looking for because he does have Volcanic Strength in his hand. You see him thumbing that forward. You also see him moving that Garrick Relentless forward.
I think you want to just Garrick the Huntmaster here.
And he can play both spells because Gyre Sage does tap for 2 green. And you see him tapping 4 mana here. He's going to play a Garrick Relentless. It looks like he's going to fight that Huntmaster the Fells.
Yeah, and that's
flip that.
That's important. Now he can attack with the Strangleroot Geist if he chooses. Probably. And it's kind of risky to attack with both. I think, does he have a Flint Hoof Board? Might have wanted to just play a Flint Hoof Board and protect my Garrick.
Yeah, looking at his hand there, he does have a Flint Hoof Boar and a Volcanic Strength to go along with a mystery card. So really putting the pressure on and deciding that Garrick the Veil Curse is something he's not interested in at this point. If Ramon wants to take 6, he can, and decides that he will, pushing him down to 14. That Wool token can take care of Garrick the Veil Curse now.
Yeah, the only thing about losing your Garrick here is, you can start churning out tokens, but you can also start searching out Silver Hearts.
Yeah.
Which are, obviously very huge. And down comes Olivia.
So Olivia Valderen's going to join the party. We're going to see the Wolf take care of the Garrick the Veil Curse, so that's going to bite the dust. And now Olivia, with a land, which is going to be a Woodland Cemetery, can begin to hold down the fort, just like we saw the last game. And it is within Searing Spear range right now, depending on timing from both players, as Marcus is going to draw a card, and he does draw Searing Spear.
And you talked about this last game. I mean, is Ramon going to regret not pinging? Because now Marcos can actually respond by casting Searing Spear. So maybe he wants to cast a... yeah, it looks like he maybe just want to pants up a guy. and swing in.
You're going to see him start with a Volcanic Strength on the Gyre Sage. That's going to make it to a 5/6. You're going to see Strangleroot come in as well. So this is going to be an attack for 8 damage here. Ramon's sitting at 14, 5 of which is going to be unblockable depending on the cards in his hand. Abrupt Decay sure does make some things look pretty good here, but again, that Olivia Voldaren, depending on if Ramon moves or not, can die at a moment's notice due to that top deck Searing Spear by Marcus.
Yeah, and again, you know, Ramon could have pinged something on his turn to make it a 4/4, but he's still in bad shape. I mean, what is it? Is he just gonna? He can't block.
Sure.
You know, he doesn't want to block. If he has another land in his hand, then he can theoretically ping something and steal it. So if he has a 7th land in his hand, I think it's probably correct to just ping on my turn.
Sure.
Because you're not dead from an attack, but. Yeah, and if you're gonna do that, you probably should just block first.
And so you do see you see him ping that Strangleroot or attempt to. Searing Spear takes care of that. Ramon's gonna draw a card. It's not Bonfire of the Damned, so we'll see what those 3 cards are in his hand.
But you know, Marcus has a 5/6 Invisible Stalker basically.
Yeah.
And Ramon's at 6 right now. So. With the Flinthoof Boar, they can give haste. Ramon's going to need either a removal spell or a couple of blockers right here to get himself out of this. And or at least to buy him a turn before he can, you know, draw a murder or Abrupt Decay to deal with the Gyre Sage.
So you're going to see another Olivia Voldaren come down here.
And does Ramon ping now? Does he choose to just ship again?
He's just going to pass the turn back.
Might have the Abrupt Decay.
Marcus draws a card. He draws a Garruk Primal Hunter to go along with at least 1 copy of Flinthoof Boar, potentially 2. Things are looking pretty good for Marcus right now. You're going to see a copy of Flinthoof Boar be put on the stack. It's going to resolve. He's going to give it haste with the Rootbound Crag, and he is smashing on in here. Or is he? And yes, he is. He's coming across with all of the guys. And that Gyre Sage is coming across for, again, 5 points of damage. Ramon is at 6, so this isn't going to be a lethal attack here yet.
Yeah, he needs the Abrupt Decay. He can trade with the Flinthoof Boar, and the Wolf can block the Strangleroot Geist, and he can go to 1. But if Ramon has Abrupt Decay, it's pretty good.
And the thing here is, you know, Abrupt Decay would obviously be very good, but this attack isn't a lethal one. So if you're Ramon, you can put the Olivia in front of the Flinthoof Boar, you can put the Wolf token in front of the Strangleroot Geist, shoot the Boar to turn your Olivia into a 4/4. Nothing gets done. He takes 5, he goes down to, by my count, he goes down to 1. And, you know, if he draws a 7th land, so long as it's not one of those Ravnica Shock lands, he can shoot the Gyre Sage and then take it. Or actually, he can shoot the Gyre Sage and end up taking it, as you're going to see a tragic slip here on the Flinthoof Boar. Now, actually, what he'd be best off doing, he doesn't even need that 7th land, is he could just shoot the Gyre Sage, turn his Olivia into a 4/4, and then kill the Flinthoof Boar. So now he's actually put himself in a situation where he actually needs to draw that 7th land.
Yeah, he basically just needs to steal the Gyre Sage next turn.
And, you know, we didn't know that he had Tragic Slip in his hand, but okay, he has an additional one, so that's actually going to be able to take care of that.
Yeah. So, yeah, now he's basically in the driver's seat. Olivia's going to be able to steal this game.
Yeah, Olivia is looking to stand tall here, and Thragtusk is very, very timely there for Ramon. So he's going to move up to 6. Olivia can attack now. He can start being the aggressor if he wants to, but he decides to hold tight. You see Marcus draw a forest for his Garruk Primal Hunter. And there is a Garruk Primal Hunter here from Marcus. He's going to move it up to 4. He's going to get himself a Beast token, and he is just going to have to pass the turn back here.
Yeah, that's... Ramon had 2 Tragic Slips in his hand. He managed to pull this game out.
I mean, this game isn't over.
No, I mean, but Ramon can deal 3 damage to the boar, attack, kill Garruk, and deal 6 damage to Marcos, threatening lethal next turn.
Yeah, I mean, things are certainly in Ramon's favor now. Thragtusk was a timely top deck. So you're going to see Olivia shoot that beast. It's going to put a counter on it. And it's going to come in here to take care of the Thragtusk. Now, he could shoot that down. He's deciding not to here. And let's see if he has another play. He's just going to play Blood Crypt and say go. So a curious play on that turn. Because if it's Volcanic Strength, as you see a Flithoof Boar, he's going to give that haste and get in.
And now if he has a Searing Spear, is that game?
Yeah, Searing Spear would do it. So again,
so why didn't? Yeah, he basically needed to kill the boar on his turn. He needed to kill the beast token rather on his turn. And there it is. Marcos had a Searing Spear.
And so that's it. Marcos Torrez does end up taking the match 2-0 with his green-red aggro deck over Ramon Romo and his Jund deck. Again, I think that's just for those of you guys viewing at home, just some, mismanagement of Olivia and just what it can do.
I mean, you had 2 games where Olivia should have just taken over the game, and in both games, Ramon just used it incorrectly. In the last game, Ramon is probably afraid of, all right, if my opponent has a Flithoof Boar and a Searing Spear, I'm dead. But if he has those cards, your best play is